Alright, so, yeah, apparently we're getting a reboot of Superman. Yay! No, right?
Now we can watch Krypton with lens flare.
Yes, J.J. Abrams is producing the new Superman movie, and the script is by...
Remember when that would have had us excited? There was a time we would have been excited to see J.J. Abrams running a...
The thing is that it's not J.J. Abrams. It's the fact that we have... Why do we got to keep doing another Superman? Why can't we just get a sequel to Man of Steel? Why can't we just do
Why can't we just do a Superman movie instead of another Superman?
Yeah, and that could be a sequel to that, to where we have one Superman, doesn't have to change to another actor. Just keep Henry Cavill, because I still think he's the best Superman we got. And it just be a Superman movie. Now we got to hear the entire thing all over again, and I don't want that. That's what's happening.
Here's what I don't understand. Okay, Superman is turning into one of those tent poles, kind of like Batman. Batman is a tent pole. Okay? Batman, James Bond, for that matter, John Wick. We've mentioned John Wick in one of the other videos. We have all these franchises. Mission Impossible. It's the same actor playing the same character in multiple movies, yes. But eventually they get tired of it and they move on to do something else. Okay, John Wick, Mission Impossible, it doesn't count on them. But James Bond does, Superman does, Batman does, okay? An actor will play, for example, Batman in 2 or 3 or 4 movies and then move on, okay? But they come out of the role bigger than when they went in, usually, okay? Nobody knew who Christopher Reeve was until he was Superman. Yeah. And then when his time as Superman was over, everybody remembered him as Superman. So he was a little typecast, but he by and large, he liked his time as Superman. He liked kids running up to him and calling him Superman and everything, so he liked it. There have been other actors who have played Superman, and they weren't generally widely known until they became Superman. So it's a star-maker role, just like James Bond. Nobody knew who Sean Connery was until James Bond. Okay, that's when he entered the widespread popular consciousness. Nobody knew Roger Moore until he was James Bond.
But there's a difference between those, because James Bond didn't have an origin story. He was just a spy. He went on a mission. So they changed him. But with these Superman movies, it's like you're telling his origin story all over again with one actor. Second movie, all over again, another actor. And now we're doing it again. Batman had the same problem, except it's kind of gotten to that point where, like everybody else, it's like, okay, the only Batmans that are rememberable is the Tim Burton ones and the Christopher Nolan ones. The rest of them, who's these actors? We don't care no more, because you're just going to redo them.
I remember back in '89, everybody's like, Tim Burton, that Frankenweenie guy? And who's playing Batman? What the... Come on, Warner Brothers, how'd you screw this up? 30 years later, though, everybody's like, oh yeah, remember the good old days?
Yeah, and it's
with Michael Keaton and Tim Burton. God, those are the good old days.
It's like Christian Bale, who, he played Batman, and it's like, wait, that Newsies kid?
Yeah, nobody knew who he was until...
Oh, wait, the American Psycho dude. Oh, that's it. And even though, I don't know why I keep looking over there when the camera's right here.
That's that heroic profile. We've been talking about heroes way too much this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, and I really do like Henry Cavill though. I really do like him as Superman. I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, who are you gonna find to play? Like, I mean, Brandon Routh played Superman. I actually kind of liked that movie, but a lot of people hated it, which I understand. The Superman kid and that whole situation was kind of useless, but it was there.
That's like Rebirth, the bad version of it.
But I still think even though I don't like Lex Luthor, but that whole thing where, like, he stabs Superman with the kryptonite and, like, whispers in his ear saying, now fly, and then pushes him off the cliff. So gangster. I was like, yes! That's the type of Lex Luthor we need. Not just this yeah, Superman can fly. I can't. I hate him. I want to kill him. You know, I want my own island. I want to be God. You know, like that. Ugh, just want to. But I don't know. Like, anyways, we're getting off the rest of the news here. Anyway, the script writer is. I want to try to say this name. Tanisha Coates.
Mm-hmm.
He is a comic writer of Black Panther. So now, before anybody says or does anything, okay, the whole fact of Superman being played by a man of color is a rumor, okay? Just because they got a man of color writing it doesn't mean Superman is going to be a man of color. So stop that right now. I don't want people to comment or say, yeah, they're going to have Denzel Washington to play, you know, Superman or something like that.
Wait. He might be a little old now.
He can play
I'd be
his
down
dad.
with that. I would be down with that.
He can play his dad.
I see Idris Elba. Did you see Idris Elba as Superman?
No,
We
he's
could-
more of Batman.
Yeah, he's more of the.
He's more of a
remember they
Batman.
were talking about him being James Bond? That
I
would
was
have been
down with
awesome
that.
as hell.
I was down with that.
Yeah, I was totally down
I
with
could
that.
see
And
him
actually,
as
yeah, I
Batman.
could see him being Batman too.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I don't want to hear that voice come out of that costume. I'd be like, shit. Just like,
Idris Elba is going to wind up being like James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman's successor. He's just going to be the voice of the next generation.
but yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's the big story going on right now. And that is that we're getting a Superman reboot.
Okay, if I'm going to, all right,
What's your story on that?
I'm not going to talk about J.J. Abrams. Okay, lens flares. Okay, that's all I got to say about J.J. Abrams. Here's how I would reboot Superman. I think we've actually covered something like this
We actually
before.
talked about this.
Because I was talking about doing rebooting not with Lex Luthor, but with Brainiac,
Yes.
and making Brainiac the center of the movie. I would have if I've got to put Lex Luthor in because for some reason somebody at Warner Brothers insists Lex Luthor is the real star of the Superman movies. I don't know why.
This is not-
Been like that since the 70s. Okay, hold on. No. I would make, and we've seen this happen in the comics, not be president, make Lex Luthor a good guy. He's the good guy. Hold on. Make Lex Luthor the good guy in the first movie. He's a good guy. And Superman suspects him because he's always been shady as heck. Okay? I tell the origin story in like 10 seconds at the beginning of the movie just to get Warner off my back. And then shows Lex Luthor saving a little baby or something. Superman is the one who lifts the moon off the earth and puts it back in orbit, but Lex Luthor is the one cradling the baby in front of the cameras and stuff. So Lex Luthor's superpower is great PR. Okay? All the world loves Lex Luthor. He's so smart. He's like the second coming of Steve Jobs, okay? Steve Jobs was the second coming of Lex Luthor. That's how sweet and saintly he is. Everybody loves him and it drives Superman insane. And then, we were talking about throwing napalm on a forest fire. That's when the internet virus known as Brainiac shows up. But guess what? It speaks Kryptonian. Just to completely blow his mind. Because remember, Superman doesn't know anything about Krypton. His older cousin, Supergirl, does. She turns up in the middle of this first movie, and she's the one who's able to tell him, yeah, I know who Brainiac is. Brainiac was the guy who ran Krypton for us until it blew up. Wah! And then, how you punch the internet? God knows. If anybody ever figures it out, let me know. I'd love to punch the internet. But you can't punch the internet, so that's the first movie. And then, just where do you go from there? Because now you got Lex Luthor as a good guy. Brainiac's going to get away. The internet is always on. Unless you're a Spectrum customer. But anyway. And then you've already introduced Supergirl. You've got all this stuff going on. and then you just go on to the second movie. But that's what I would do with the first movie. You want to have a bunch of villains in there. You want to do this and this and this and this. Fine. Throw all the villains in at once, but only have one bad guy.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I hate that's what they're doing with everything now. The Batman movie, the new Spider-Man movie, and I'm just like, oh.
That's what I'm saying. Take it and stand it on its head. Remember, if I were to do a Batman movie, I know exactly which villain I would pick.
Be careful.
I know exactly which villain I would pick. Let's see if you can guess. Now, you've seen all the Batman shows and everything. The guy I would pick to be in the Batman movie...
Penguin.
Huh?
The Penguin.
No.
Riddler.
No. As far as I know, he hasn't made an appearance in any of the movies. That's why I would use him.
I know my favorite bad guy is Clayface.
There you go.
Yes.
Because Clayface can make himself look like anybody, including Bruce Wayne.
Thank you.
We
were brothers for a reason.
We start Spike's Batman movie. The first 5 minutes shows Bruce Wayne walk up and shoot the mayor of Gotham City in the head. And then he walks away, and everybody's in shock, like, what the heck just happened? And then you have the Batman logo, and you do the graphics and everything. And Batman's standing there, and he sees all the police activity. He comes down, he asks Commissioner Gordon what happened. Bruce Wayne just shot the mayor dead. What? There you go. And there's 2 hours worth of classic there, because guess what? Now Batman has to figure out what the heck just happened.
Look, I'm sorry, but I've always... I wish they do more of him, because I'm sorry, but
he's an awesome villain. Because hold on, not only can he make himself look like anything, he is a trained Shakespearean actor.
Yes.
He knows how to study people. He can study their speech patterns, their movements, and all this other stuff.
Awesome.
He would be the perfect counterpoint for Batman, who is pretty much hands down known as the biggest know-it-all and hero.
And I think he was only. Like he was first introduced was in the animated series, right?
No, he was actually first introduced in the comic books back in the 40s.
I did not know that, because that's where I've known him from. I was like,
he was never really treated with that much respect. He was considered like a third-tier Batman villain, like down there with Killer Moth and stuff like that. But he got rehabbed by the cartoon series. Mr. Zero was the same way.
Yeah.
He was a third-tier Batman villain until the cartoon series, and all of a sudden he got pathos and stuff.
See, now, I know everybody out there loves the Joker. I love the Joker, too.
The Joker got his own movie, okay? Let's have enough Joker. Let's move on to
Clayface was just one of those, again, like I remember watching the animated series, and Clayface was like, he was an actor, and he did this skin cream stuff, and then he's like this big blob, but he can be anybody. But it's like seeing him fight Batman, and then Batman being sucked into him, like freaking awesome. So like it's just awesome. And it's like that could be so good. And what if he actually pretended to be the president?
And the best part of this, he's not universally known like Batman is. The audience doesn't necessarily know who Clayface is. Now the cartoon series know who he is. Their fans know who he is. The comic book fans know who he is. So all the geeks would know who Clayface is. Here's where you would get the guerrilla marketing, because you're going to let the fans in on it. Hey, nerds, guess what? It's actually Clayface, wink, wink. But don't let anybody know. This is just our secret, okay? Don't explain it to them until they see the movie, and they're like, what the heck just happened? And then you explain it to them, and they're like, what? And then, see?
Or what if Batman has to go up against the Joker, and the Joker's like doing all this crazy stuff, but at the end it turns out it's not the Joker, it's Clayface. Clayface being the Joker. Or something, I don't know. You know what? We were talking about Superman.
And then Clayface, but Batman beats Clayface. He finally manages to beat Clayface, but he's exhausted, he's been swallowed up, he's been spat out, he's done all this other stuff. He picks himself up, and there's Bane, grabs him by the neck and the leg and just breaks his back over his knee and leaves him crumpled. We go to credits. Movie over.
Batman going up against all of his arch nemesis, except it's only one dude.
It's one dude.
It's Clayface.
It's Clayface. And Bane.
And he'll just shift himself like over here.
And Bane. No, hold on. Bane is the one payrolling Clayface. So now Batman has to fight this entire rogues gallery, but it's always Clayface, and he doesn't know it until the very end. He finally figures it out, and Clayface drops the pretense. Now Batman's got to fight Clayface, and whoops, turns out it was Bane all along. It's like it was Agatha all along. It was Bane all along. And oh my God, I remember back in, hold on, quick nerd memory. Back in the 90s, Bane was a joke character when they first introduced him, because he was the guy who broke Batman's back. That was his big claim to fame. They didn't want Bruce Wayne to be Batman anymore, so he had to be darker and edgier. That's where Azrael came in and stuff. But anyway. So Bane was a joke character until about 10 years later, when they started rehabilitating the character. He was always turning up in other books. He was the guy who was doing the low-level stuff, so he was the guy who was always getting away with it. The heroes were always going after the face up the tops. They'd punch him. Bane was the one who was funding all the criminal activity. So when the bad guy got punched in the face, it wasn't Bane. Bane was sitting there. He would take his stuff back, and he would put it somewhere else and let the Penguin run things for a while. And then Batman punched Penguin. Bane would just pull it all back quietly, and he'd put it over here, and he'd have like Metallo run it or something over in Metropolis. And then Superman would punch Metallo and Bane would just pull it off. And it was getting bigger and bigger all the time, and they just rehabbed the hell out of the character. I was always impressed with what they did with Bane. And Blockbuster for that, not Blockbuster, shoot, Doomsday over Superman. Because Doomsday was the guy whose only purpose was to kill Superman, and they have rehabbed the hell out of that character too. He's actually worth paying attention to.
Superman, I think the reason why Superman, I just never really cared too much for, like I didn't mind Superman or his abilities, even though I got to admit, his weakness is a green rock, really kind of, but like, he never fought anybody interesting. It was always Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor was just this plain boring guy. And then there was Lois Lane, who is not, I'm sorry, she is not a strong female character. She's just in everybody's business, and at the end always has to be saved. And she was just like, why are you falling in love with this woman? Seriously, I have no idea. But like, it was the same thing, same formula. Like, they never tried anything new. And it's like, oh, just like, I guess that's why I never really care too much about Superman. I just wish they would stick with one path and keep it that way, instead of just like, oh, I think it's time to do another Superman movie. But instead of doing a sequel or a third movie or whatever, let's just redo it all. Superman, Batman doesn't have the issue so much anymore. He's been rehabbed. The Marvel doesn't really have the same issue. They've been rehabbed, although they're starting to run into that issue. Superman, Captain Marvel, all the old school guys, except for Batman, because he has been explored from all these different angles. Wonder Woman is still largely Tabula Rasa. She's a blank slate. Nobody really understands who Wonder Woman is. Even the people who write her don't really understand. Even the guy who created her doesn't never really understood Wonder Woman. But It's a shame, because there's a lot of potential there.
These older characters, especially the DC guys, these older characters, the problem they suffer from is that comic books back then were written for kids. Okay, they were written at a kid's level, so everything always had to reset at the end of the story, and then everything was back to normal in the next story. Okay. As the fans get older, they crave more character development. They crave more intricate plots. They crave better storytelling. They crave more actual craftsmanship. Comic books that are aimed at kids, where they reset every month or two, that's not going to give you any of that stuff. And that's what Hollywood is having the problem with right now. Not so much the Marvel side, although you're starting to see signs of it. But on the DC side with Warner Brothers, it's still like that. They think comic books are for kids. They think they have to reboot every time they recast the lead. they have a new Superman, they have to reboot and start it over because it's kids.
Yeah.
If, and Jeff Johns, I know you're in charge of DC Cinematic, okay? Or you were last I heard. Somebody can prove me wrong, I don't know. Whoever's in charge of DC Cinematic at Warner Media. Huh?
I thought it was Walter Hamada, or...
He's in charge of, yeah, whatever. Whoever's in charge over there, treat your Superman character, treat your Wonder Woman character, just like you treat Batman, interchangeable. Stop rebooting every time you change the actor. Superman is Superman. It stays the same from the 1978 movie right up to today.
Yeah,
it's always been
change.
Superman, okay? It's just you had different actors playing him. It's
Yeah.
all the same guy. This is why I keep harping on Jeff Johns. Nobody does continuity porn like Jeff Johns. Okay, Jeff Johns can take all kinds of disparate stuff, cram it together into one continuity, and make it all make sense. That's what he did. Here's an excellent idea. Okay, idea just popped into my head.
Oh, no.
Okay. Actually popped into my head a couple of minutes ago, but I just now brought it into it. Okay, you were talking about kryptonite.
Yes.
Okay, kryptonite does what?
Makes Superman weak.
Okay, how does it make Superman weak?
Good question. It's from his own planet, but for
Right.
some reason
It's radiation, right? Okay, it radiates
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, true.
So it's radiation. And what color is it?
Green.
Okay, quick, name another character who is green and messes around with light.
Messes around with light.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
green.
radiation. Green radiation. Not, and I'm talking about DC, not the Hulk, you idiot.
Oh.
'Cause I knew you were about to
Oh,
say
I was like,
I knew you were about to
Martian?
say
Martian Manhunter?
No, he doesn't deal with
Oh,
radiation.
no, I'm sorry, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
My mom was like
Who,
everywhere.
hold on. Wait a minute, here's a concept. Krypton has green radiation. Green Lanterns have green radiation. What powers that Green Lantern? Because he has to recharge his ring every 24 hours.
Yes.
How does he recharge it? Okay. What if, this is insane, I'm just going to throw this out there. And to be honest, I'll probably wait about the social media things. I'm tired again. I'm getting old. I'm closing on at 50. Okay. What if?
Yes.
No, the Owens, those little blue guys, the big heads, they're the Guardians of the Universe, not the Galaxy. That's Marvel again. The Guardians of the Universe. Those are the guys in charge of the Green Lantern Corps. Okay. What if the power source inside each of these Green Lanterns is actually a piece of Krypton from another dimension? So in other words, the Guardians of the Universe blew up Krypton, and Superman escapes from there, but he gets knocked out a phase of his original universe. He winds up in our universe, and the reason he's weak to Krypton is because of how it was altered as it was brought through the universes, just like he was altered. But now every time he runs into a Green Lantern, if he were to make contact with the Green Lantern construct, which I've never seen happen in the comic books, Jeff Johns, you can use this free of charge. Just blow me a kiss or something, okay? What if Superman touches a Green Lantern construct, like one of these big green light constructs, and immediately loses his powers? Green Lanterns are using kryptonite radiation to make their constructs. So now all of a sudden Superman and Green Lanterns don't necessarily get along. Especially if Hal Jordan manages to find out where that power source comes from, because you know he's a blabbermouth, and he'll let it slip to Superman at some point or another. So now Superman's going to be pissed at the Guardians of the Universe, but oh well, look how much good the Green Lanterns have done. There's your moral ambiguity, and that's a heck of an idea for a movie, for that matter.
That is a great idea.
Not for a Superman movie, though, for a Green Lantern movie.
It is a great idea. I like it. It's very interesting and a little complicated.
Hold on,
but very
it's a little
interesting.
complicated. You'd have to split it up into a trilogy, see? You would make 3 Green Lantern movies. You'd make one God bless him. You'd have to bring Sinestro back for that one because nobody knows any of the other Green Lantern villains. But you would have to take your time exploring it. But to make that the basis of the third movie, Superman versus Green Lantern, would be.
You know what? I wish we worked it.
I'm glad I don't. Because then I'd have to deal with all these jerks. It's so much easier to sit here in front of a camera and
just have
library
theories.
and
just throw out fan theories and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or what was it? Fan fiction.
Fanfic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is
exactly.
Nice. I think I would rather have Kevin Smith's respect than Walter Hamada's any day of the week, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
You know when you got Kevin Smith if he starts crying. If he starts crying, and then it's like, yes.
The question is, would he be crying from being touched right here, or would he be laughing his ass off?
I watched enough Kevin Smith stuff to know that if something is so good, he starts crying. Even though
I always imagined Kevin Smith would cry if you took a pizza and dropped it face down onto the floor.
Oh, he's vegan now.
Yeah, right.
No, he is. He's completely changed because he had a heart attack.
Oh, that's right. He did have a coronary.
So, like, he can't eat nothing, no meat or nothing. He's been fasting. He's really skinny now. And his daughter will not let him have nothing with meat. His daughter literally posts animal cruelty all over social media all the time about, like, you know, look what you're doing to this poor little chicklet and it being thrown into, like, some sort of device and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah. But, yeah. Where are we going to talk?
I was trying to wrap our recording session.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Last week, understand.
Oh, shoot.
We recorded for an hour. We recorded for an hour last week. I've put out 5 episodes from that hour, and I've still got another 20 minutes to work my way through and post. This week, we spent another hour doing the recording. We've gotten 3 things, and I'm exhausted. So.
See, now, this is what we have been thinking about. Actually going live. And if we go live, it actually would make it a whole lot easier because, well, it'd be live. And then when we end it, it'd still be there for you guys to watch. But we can sit there and, like, literally just talk like we do all the time and be like, oh, yeah, yeah.
So what do you think? I will tell you right now, I'm really hesitant about Zoom, but I would much rather have our lunatic butts on Zoom than my kids going to school and having their private information exposed to Zoom.
So why do you keep coming up with Zoom for? What's a Zoom?
You don't know what Zoom is?
It's FaceTiming.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So you don't want to be in the same room with me?
No. I thought he figured that out 2 years ago. I don't know. We are closing in on 2 years doing this, aren't we?
Yes.
God. You've really got to get a life. You know that, right? Dude, I'm pushing 50. Why are you hanging out with an old man when you could be out there shooting videos with hot chicks and stuff?
We live in Mount Sterling, Kentucky.
Him. Y'all talk to him. So, until next time, Spike. Dead meat. Meat over here.
Who are we talking about? I got no
show. Dude, you better hope I edit this thing out.
What are we talking about?
The best part is he had a stack of cards about that tall and nothing to talk about. So.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be nothing going on this week, so you get to see it all tomorrow.
So please, by all means, pile on. Till next time, love, peace, and salt. Take care, y'all.